Well, welcome back to the Grapple Theory podcast. It's our first podcast of 2024, and we're joined by, in my opinion, one of the breakout stars of 2023. Delighted to welcome to the show, Jay Joshua. Jay, thanks so much for coming on. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm all right. Not too bad. It's been a busy end to the year, I guess. Like, especially for you as well. Like, I mean, you were just absolutely smashing it the whole of 2023.
Oh yeah, man. Like, no, I appreciate that. Like, no, I'm glad to see the hard work is actually paying off. And the real work actually begins now.
Yeah.
Like, no, only because, like, no, everybody's got eyes on me now. So, like, no, it's appealing, and at the same time, I have to put the work into.
Yeah. I was going to say, from a fan's point of view, it seemed like last year was really like the breakout year for you. Is that how it felt for you as well?
100%, because I generally felt like it was my own fault how I never really broke out any earlier, and but I'm glad at the very start of the year I had opportunities of working with a few of the biggest names in the UK, and I was just happy that I had the chance to actually show how good I can be.
Yeah, absolutely, and you definitely showed that, mate. You definitely showed that. You've had some incredible matches this year. I mean, like, when you look at it, I know what I'd say, and we'll talk about it in a second. But when you look at your last year, is there any matches in particular that stand out for you as like that was a huge one?
And there has been a lot, but the first one was my match of Chaos in February against Trent. The Trev match was huge because it was the first big showcase match that I had, and the fact that I go at the back and everyone went, "You absolutely smashed that. You've arrived," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I did not expect it. I was nervous the whole week. I was I barely slept because I was just extremely I was negative only because I was am I gonna panic? Am I gonna choke? Am I gonna not really do well? But the fact that I actually did well, it was a huge weight off my shoulders, and then my confidence just went sky high.
Yeah, I feel like you could see that. Like, after that match, you could see the matches you put on just seemed to get better and better and better after that. Like, again, you had some great ones. One I want to bring up, I think I had it I don't know if you see, I think we tweeted it out earlier today, but one of my favourite matches this whole year was you and Nico against Sunshine Machine at Riot Cabaret at All In Weekend. And that was an incredible match. That was insane. That was, I knew you were good before, but that was the match that, I sat up and I was like, holy shit, this guy is, really fucking good.
Oh, cheers, man. No, it's because, that, whole week itself was, mad, because, at the previous, weekend, I had Mills at Attack, and we had a stand in, ovation, and so, the confidence was, even more through, and the roof, because it was all in, too, on the weekend. It was just a mentality of going, let's go all out for this. And yeah, I was happy that everybody enjoyed that match, but I really, really hope that who knows that right if we can actually do it again.
I mean, I would love to see that. I think you guys worked so well, you gelled so well together. And like you say, you said before recording, obviously you're facing Nico as of the time this is going to go out. You're facing him this coming weekend. So
yeah,
I mean that's going to be a fantastic match as well. So that's a tough way to start off the year as well, though, a match against Nico.
Oh yeah, Nico he's a superstar now. That's the thing. He's finally acknowledged now on this scene that he is an actual genuine superstar. He's where I want to be, right? My actual bar is what he was at last year. So the fact that I actually got him on my first match back, and because he's one of my best mates as well, it's a big one too, because you got a few of the Dragon like no gates like no wrestlers actually on the show as well, and knowing like me and knowing him, he'll be going all out for this, and we're just gonna kick the absolute living piss out of each other.
I don't doubt it, mate. I don't doubt it. You absolutely are. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, we had Nico on a little while ago. I want to say off the top of my head, probably about a year and a half ago. And that was, like, just after he'd got his big push in TNT. And, like, he was sort of rising, like, climbing that ladder. And now to see at the level he's at is, like, so incredible. And again, like you say, it's got to be so nice for someone like yourself or any others coming up through that scene to be able to look at what Nico's done the past couple of years and be like, oh, shit, like, I want to do that. That's where I want to be.
Oh, yeah, like, no, me and, like, him roughly began at the same, like, no time, and he was just absolutely off the bat, he was killing it straight away. Like, no, it took me a while to find me, because I was trying to be a wrestler that I wasn't, if you get me.
Yeah.
So, like, no, it only took me at the end of 2020, like, no, where I had, like, no, a talk with, like, no, Wild, like, no, Bud and Brendan and Danny Jones and all them, and, like, after that huge, like, no, talk, I finally found myself, and then, like, no, and then they finally gave me, like, no, the platform of last year. So, like, no, hopefully I can be at the position where, like, no, Nico is now. And as well, like, no, we've been, like, no, doing, like, no, well elsewhere, but it was finally, like, no, especially at that Riot, like, no, show where, like, no, it was one of our rare, like, no, appearances at that area in London. So, like, no, it was huge for us. So I'm quite, like, no, glad how, like, no, a lot of fans in that, like, no, area actually, like, no, acknowledge us, and they want to, like, no, see as much of us as possible.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the thing, isn't it? Is, like, that's sort of that barometer of, you know, how you're progressing, and the fact that you're getting those bookings now just, like, outside of Wales and, like, the surrounding area. The people want to bring you in, like, across the country.
Oh, yeah, like, no, I'm extremely humbled by it as well, because it makes me, like, you know, realise that I'm not really just known in the Wales area. I'm getting known outside of it now, which I'm quite, like, no, happy to. And but it don't mean, like, you know, I'm not, like, no, those, like, no, ones who get all those, like, you know, opportunities, and then they go, oh yeah, I don't really have to do much else, and, like, no, and all that, like, no, stuff. I always keep my like, no, head, like, no, on the ground. I do not have them above, like, no, the clouds. I always try and put in the work as much as I can. But especially when, like, no, as like I said, like, no, it took me a while, and knowing, like, no, I found me, like, no, now I don't want to change who I am.
Yeah, that's important. That's hugely important. That's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's not, that's the thing, it's not just you. We've spoken to a few wrestlers on the podcast who are like, you know, initially I struggled to find, like, who I wanted to be in the ring, because you were trying to be someone else, or trying to think you had to be a certain way or something. And, like, ultimately, it's when you accept, like, this is what I want to do, this is who I want to be in the ring, that's when it becomes so much easier.
Yeah, and it wasn't really just much of the style, like, no, too, because I kind of always had my style in the ring. It was mainly the, like, no, other things of just being me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, no, I was trying to act like, you know, else, like, you know, no, like, no, who else and all that, like, no, stuff. I wasn't being me. No, when I, like, no, I finally, especially when, like, no, all the outside issues I was going, like, no, through, and, like, no, like, no, like, no, outside of home, and then I came, like, no, back, like, home at the end of 2020, like, no, too, and then it just became a whole new, like, no, thing in a good way. I became a lot more at peace too. And then, like, no, because of that, in a good way, I didn't have any much care in a good way. I wasn't some, like, no, like, not, like, no, overthinking things and overstressing things. I finally, like, no, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna be me, and I do not, like, no, care if they, like, no, if a fan, or if, like, you know, or if a wrestler does not, like, no, acknowledge it. As long as I'm me, I'm happy.
Yeah, and that's great to hear. Like, I love hearing that. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And that again, like we said, that's the most important thing. And sometimes when like you've got a lot of like hecticness going on in life, it's when like you finally get that sort of chill, that calm, that you can like take a step back and look at it and be like, okay, now I know what I want and I know what I want to be.
Yeah, yeah. Like I always knew I wanted to like actually do this and it, but it took me a while to like know like all the sacrifices they would have to actually like take, and but not like huge like ones. It was just like acknowledgement of like had like work and find like time to like actually like be on the shows and train and travel and like because I'm like I will know at the end like of the road it's going to pay off.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like it has this year as well, like for you especially. I mean, we'll get to a few certain bits. I want to talk about like the couple of titles you won and like especially about New Wave because I know that's hugely important to you. But if we talk about big moments this year, how big a moment was the TNA gut check for you? Like, because that seemed like a huge moment. Like, obviously there was some incredible talent in that like from all across the Brit Rest scene. I mean, that must have been a crazy moment.
It was single-handedly all year the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever been a part of. But then as soon as I got there, I felt completely calm. Mm-hmm. Especially when they actually said if we are actually going to do it in our gear and be our selves. And I was like said, I could be me. And then I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I walked in and you had a few of the new wave lot, and it, you had some of the most incredible workers in the UK, and then it was just I was like, okay, it's on now. And knowing I'll give a little in. And then side here, we got told afterwards I didn't make it in the top 10. I made it in the top 3.
Amazing.
And I it came down to me, Harley Hudson, and Chris Bronson, who for me is the most underrated on this scene. It's ridiculous. He should be everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Chris is a star. Like, again, like you say, so underrated, so underappreciated, I feel, in the scene.
Absolutely. He's Mr. Perfect 2.0.
Yeah.
That is exactly who he is. And but the fact that I was doing a few of the a few of the work and stuff in the ring with him in front of in front of Scott the Murray and Gail Kim and Josh Alexander and Swan and all them and I worked him in the first half of it, and I credit him a lot because he made me look very, very, very good as well.
No, mate, I'm sure it was you as well. But that's the thing, to be told you're in the top 3 there. That's mad. Obviously, big props to Harley Hudson for winning it. She's going to be a star as well. She's going to be huge. But it must be such a good feeling to even if you didn't win it to be told we rank you in the top 3. We thought you were this good. That must be such a moment of recognition.
Oh yeah, it was a fact. Afterwards, me and Ronson were just over the moon, and and it was just and I was getting messages of of Bud and Brendan and only because you had Danny Luna there who's seen everything, and she messaged them straight away, and Nico as well, and they messaged me and were like, oh yeah, I heard you got in the top 10, and I was like, oh yeah, and then I explained it. Oh yeah, at the back they actually said I was in the top 3 and all that stuff. And the biggest feedback we had though with me and him was that we need to be on a bigger platform and kill it. And it, but like, no, I don't want to be handed it. I want to earn my, not like no, earn my like no spot and earn my like no place. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's that. I think that's what you do. I think that's what you've that's what you've done this year. I feel like you've had like banging matches to start the year, and that's earned you like your spots in other promotions and other shows moving forward. And that's all. That's what it's about, isn't it? Just sort of riding that momentum.
I hope so. And like no, I don't want it to be a patch. I don't want it to be like no, oh yeah, he had a good like year, and then he never really does like no anything like no. Again, I'm gonna try and make like no sure as like I said, it'll be bigger, and it'll be a better like no year next year, 100%.
For sure. I'm sure it will. I can't wait to see what you do next year. I mean, we're going to talk about this year. Sorry, not next year. Oh God, time is just ridiculous, isn't it?
Next year.
Time is.
I'm used to it. Yeah.
Time is a wild concept, isn't it? Yeah, it's already 24. I can't wait to see what you do this year. But I mean, in terms of again, like going through sort of like the rise you had last year, I know as well you credit a lot of that with the work that you've done at New Wave, and we had Brendan on just before Christmas, and he like spoke so highly of you. Like he thinks the world of you, like he was bigging you up so much, and it must be nice from like Brendan, from everyone at New Wave, really like to know that you've got like that support system, these guys that like are believing in you and like pushing you and want you to be the best you can be.
Oh yeah, 100%. I would not be where I am if it wasn't like being there all the time. Like I'm being like around Bud and Brendan and Danny Jones and Mag and Danny Luna and Nico, Elijah, Splitch, James Ellis, and the list goes on and on and on, and they make me better. And we always make everybody around us actually better too, and and at the same time it makes us actually better. I'm so happy to be to be there, because I just feel like it's made me who I am now.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Is like so much of, I feel like for a lot of wrestlers and wrestlers we've spoken to, is like so much of who you become as a wrestler, as a character, as a presence in the ring is down to who you've trained with and who you've worked with and how you've been brought through.
Yeah, as like the old quote is, iron sharpens iron every time, and there's just so much depth at the school. It's absolutely insane, and and the fact that none of us are I'm only out for me, or or just or just us lot. All of us are trying to build a bigger scene, but not really just here, all around in the UK.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, especially in the last year, the thing that I've picked up on is the fact that, and again, we spoke to Brendan, we spoke to Elijah just before Christmas as well, and then mid last year we spoke to Boar as well, and all three of them were the Welsh scene seems to be at a place now where even other promotions, it's all just seems to be a combined effort that you're all working together to just make the scene and yourselves bigger and better. Whereas I guess in the past it's been a case of promotions seem to only really look out for each other, but it doesn't seem like that's the case anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to name any names in it, but I've experienced a lot of horrible history of where it's you have to be at this school or else. And I always hated that. And we welcome everybody, and also too, we try and be at as many places as we can. We had a few of the boys actually going all the way to Scotland and Ireland and stuff, and Germany as well. So all of us are trying to make ourselves better every time.
Yeah, and like you said, it is the iron sharpens iron. I mean, when you've got Nico and Elijah and Brendan and Danny Luna and Mandrews and Flash and all those guys who wrestle down there so consistently, it's impossible to not get better, right?
100%. You just name an entire lineup who can fill out an entire card on the biggest scene in the UK scene.
Yeah,
that's what's mad about and then no pun and intended. You got the next wave then of of me and Split and Elijah and James Ellis and Kurt Atlas, Leon Lionel Cage, Shane Hooker, Aluna. It's just and the depth is just absolutely insane.
I said to Brendan, I was like, you guys have got to put something in the water down there in Wales, because there's no way, you have no right that the talent is that good. It's mad. There's got to be something going on down there. How are you, the way that Wales keeps producing this insane talent is mental.
It's just food, mate. It's just food.
Oh, that's it. Just great diet. Love it. All of it.
It isn't even a diet. It's just a lot of meat and chocolate. And, it's just beer. Stuff. Especially me. Have you seen me? I eat a lot. So it must be something in the food as well. Just inhaling it. That's the thing. That's all you need. That's any message to any other wrestlers watching from any other part of the country. Just start eating. Just because that's what they're doing in Wales. Clearly, that's everyone in Wales is just eating all the time, and that's why they're so good. Ain't no bread, ain't no water, just meat.
Just solid meat. Keep it there. Love it. Love it. No, it's brilliant, and it's great to see as well. It's great to see the Welsh scene area. I mean, I said to Elijah and to Brendan, and I don't want to repeat myself in that for anyone who's watching and has already heard me say this, but it's mad that I know people now who are, it used to be London was the place to go. Fans were oh, I'll go to London for a show as a special trip. But now I have mates and people that I know who are specifically planning weekends away in Wales so they can go to Chaos and Attack and New Wave and stuff. And you're that's how you know the scene's growing, right? When people from London are coming to Wales specifically to see you.
Oh, I know. It sort of became it's the place to actually be at the minute, it feels like. And it's quite mental. And a few of us actually feel the other way around though, how we want to try and get over at Europe in London. We want to be there as much as we can though as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a weird mismatch, isn't it? You guys want to be over here and we all want to be down there watching you. So we need you. Any London promotions, any Northern promotions, whoever, European promotions, bring these guys in, because then we don't need to travel. Everyone wins.
Exactly.
Everyone. And obviously it was a great end for the year for you as well, championship wise. You've got 2 belts, right? Going into 2024. No Mercy and IWN, right?
Yes.
Lovely stuff. I mean, that's got to be cool. That's got we always say to people in terms of that wrestling is such a weird pseudo sport in the fact that you even if you're not necessarily the best because some you're the best essentially because someone says you're the best, the promoter says you're the best and they want you to carry the company, whereas in other sports you're the best because you've won the most or you've proved it in some statistical way. And wrestling is this one that's so built in not ego but in terms of you're getting the validation from the promoter being I think you're the best, so you're having the belt, and that's got to be a really cool feeling.
Oh yeah, it was huge on the both of them, especially when I was there on the previous shows. I was never told I was winning any belts anyway. I only got I was only told as soon as I arrived on the day, and then I was oh, amazing, cool. I'm extremely grateful to have the belt in it, but hopefully I can get as much as I can.
Yeah, you want to add to it. That's the thing, isn't it? I was going to say, going into 2024, now that we're in 2024, if we were speaking this time next year, say start of 2025, and I were to ask you, has it been a good 2024? What would that be for Jay Joshua? What would you constitute as this has been a successful year for me?
Just be as consistent as I can be. This no time. I had a great year, but I want to have it bigger and better. I want to be on your revs and your progresses, and then I want to have a bigger opportunity of the companies that I'm at now. I want to have I want the belt at Attack. I want the belt at Chaos. I want just
You're going to rule Wales, is what you're saying. You want to rule Wales by the end of the year.
I want to rule it, but at the same time, I want to do it, but I want to earn it. I don't want to be handed it. I want to earn that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the best thing. Like that, I think that's the best thing. Incredibly, like I was going to say, the IWN title. Correct me if I'm wrong. The IWN title, you won that in Hastings, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so I've got to ask you this. So I was like born and raised in Brighton, which is like an hour away from Hastings down there. I've been to Hastings tons of times in my life. I'm just curious, what did you make of Hastings?
It was different. Like it was more of a stress on the journeys itself, because from us is about 5.5 hours.
Yeah, it's a long way. It's a long way from us. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially on on the people who's in the car, because Leon Cage he's such a kid, obviously, and he's just so hyperactive, and you're tired and you're stressed out and you just want him to shut up. But as we got there, it was like an entire beach, a beach there, and it was like, oh, are we resting by a beach then, are we? Oh, wicked. But getting there though, when it was just, it was weird. It was convoluted.
It's really out of the way. It's really out of the way.
Really out the way.
Yeah. Unless you got like sat nav or whatever, you're like, am I in the right place? Like, where am I going?
I know, but we got at the venue, and it was really nice. I was like, oh, this is class. Yeah. I'm really excited for this. Yeah.
I love that. Who do you have like a regular sort of carpool of like lads that you like normally get in the car with?
On the last two shows, it was the exact same, and the only one added on was, I think it was James Ellis. And and because obviously he's the man, and he's just so, his personality is just so infectious. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about like a little bit of that actually coming in, because I mentioned to you over DM, we've got a little feature here called Dishing the Dirt. And so it's not really that much dirt. It's like, I'd say there's like a couple of questions that I consider like dirt, and the rest are actually quite nice. So I've probably misnamed it. But I'm going to ask you, I normally do it by promotion, but we're going to sort of big up the whole Welsh scene here. So like, I want to know from you in terms of like the Welsh scene. And if you can't think of anyone from the Welsh scene, you can just name anyone you can think of. But I'm going to pose you some questions, and I want you to let me know which wrestler essentially comes to mind for each thing.
I'll try my best. So,
and it's all right. You can say yourself as well if it is yourself. Like then you're allowed to out yourself as well. The first one is anyone always running late? Is anyone normally like the one you can count on to always be late for something?
Oh, that's a good one. The one who's always late. I don't know really, but. To be fair, we've never really had anybody who's been super late all the time. It's always been other people in different situations. But there hasn't been anyone who runs late all the time.
That's fair. That's always good to hear. It's good to hear people are on time. I like that. We've had a few people out here who have been like, they're always like, oh, they're always late, and I'm like, oh, come on, you gotta be on time for things. But that's just from me. That's just from someone who's like, I got that thing where I can't be late for something. I physically can't. Otherwise, it just stresses me.
Oh yeah.
So, the next one is one of the only two that I'd say is like dirt, but I don't think it's really dirt because it's all down to opinion anyway. And it might actually link into like what we're talking about with the car journeys, because this seems like a lot of people's answer comes from what they listen to in the car. Because it's, who do you think has the worst music taste?
Oh, that's really good. It's grown on me now, but at the time I hated it. Was Mulligan's.
What sort of stuff is it? What are we talking?
Country, all country.
Oh no.
All country, but it got that bad, and he played it so much that I started to get into it, and I was like, oh no, I hate myself for this. I was like, no. It was some of the most random, I actually felt like I was in the West. It was, yeah. But who else got bad taste? I know that there's another one who's got bad, like, no taste. Oh, who would it be? Who got bad taste?
I don't
Nico.
know if you... Go on.
Nico. It's just wide range. I can never tell what he likes.
Oh, I see. So you never know what's coming on.
Yeah. And then, but like, no, I'm saying that though only because he hates mine, like, no, too. Because I tried to annoy him in the past. I would try and play, like, no, like, the Bee Gees and Casey and the Sunshine Band and all that, like, stuff, only just to really, really annoy him.
Oh, mate, I love that. Yeah, that, like, proper, like, sort of like, well, that's actually, I was gonna say 80s, but Casey and the Sunshine Band, like, it's like 60s to 80s. You got a wide range there, but it's all that sort of like uplifting, poppy kind of upbeat stuff, like that.
70s all the way.
All the disco.
He hates it. He hates it. And I've been playing it in the car in the past, and then, like, you know, he was like, "I'm never going in the car with you ever again."
To be fair, I can't see Nico as a disco guy. I can't see that. No. But no, I wouldn't peg you as a disco guy either. To be fair, so that's surprising.
That's my mum's fault.
Right.
That's my mother's fault.
Gotcha.
As a kid, and then in like no house, it'd be like no on my dad's like no side, he'd be playing like, you know, Biggie Smalls and Tupac and all them. And then, but in the other side of the house, you got like Casey and the Sunshine Band, you got Sister Sledge, you got the Bee Gees.
That is two very conflicting styles. That's two very different.
Always. But I love it.
No, I love that. I respect that. I like that. The next one is who's the comedian of the locker room? Who can you always count on to make you laugh the most?
Oh, we got loads.
Yeah.
Danny Jones is hysterical.
Yeah?
Yeah. Brendan as well. Brendan is always up, like, no, full of laugh. Who's the most consistent, though? I would, like, no, say only because how dumb, like, no, they are as a duo is Shane Hooker and Leon Cage.
Yeah. That's a great shout.
As a duo, and they're like no arguing and stuff, and like no and they're talking like no, it's the most, it's so funny. And like no, I'm Cardiff, but like no, like their like no accents are so thick, and then I'd be looking at them like, what the hell? And it's but some of the stuff that they say is just hilarious.
Amazing. That is brilliant. That's a good shout as well. I like that. I respect that as well.
We've got loads though.
I was going to say you got a good bunch down there. I feel like it's a pretty good comedy scene. Like you just put on comedy shows and you'd be fine.
Oh yeah, even like no Splits and James, like no Ellis are great as well in the back. They're so funny, but there's just loads.
Yeah.
Like it makes us all like no feel at ease and relaxed. It's great.
Well, there you go, Brendan. If you're watching this, New Wave this year, put on a New Wave comedy show. No wrestling, just all the wrestlers in the ring doing their comedy, and the fans decide who's the best.
If Mr. Blobby's on it, he would.
Oh mate, yeah, he loves Blobby, doesn't he? I remember that. Yeah, from the Riot thing as well. That was great. That
he was gonna cry. He generally, I genuinely thought he was going to cry in tears in the ring.
That's the thing. Like, we had him, like, when we had him on, we spoke about it. We spoke about it with him, and he was like, "No, I need to be in that match." Like, he was like, and then I let out a little laugh, and he was like, "No, I'm serious. Like, I need this." And I was like, "Oh, fucking hell!" Like proper Blobby fan.
Oh, it was so good.
It was great. Oh, in the ring, that hug that he got to give Blobby when he was the ref for that match was unreal.
Oh, I know. He actually felt like so like no whole like no afterwards, like no, he was like, "I just hugged Mr. Blobby."
Oh, it's amazing! It's amazing. Oh, Brendan, love Brendan. What a guy! What a guy!
Him. He's amazing.
The next one is who takes the longest to get ready, and it can be like either like getting ready for the match or getting ready after the show, like to go.
Me.
Yeah.
Me. I take ages.
Why is that? You just take your time with it, or?
After like no, and the show, I'm the worst for double checking, if not more. I double check my my gears, my boots, my suitcase, anything I've left. I take ages, and then I triple check it, and then as soon as I pack it, I go, oh, I'll have another check again now. It's so bad.
No, I get you. I'm with you on that. I do the exact same thing. I'm like, if I'm going away somewhere, like triple check everything, and then you're out the door and you're like, shit, did I take that? And then you take it back in and you undo it.
Always. It's always me. I'm always like, oh yeah, like, no, I've got that. I'll leave now. Okay, I'll have another check again, just in case I haven't named everything yet. And then I'll do it again. It's so bad.
That's the thing though, isn't it? It's like, especially if you're wrestling somewhere far away, you don't want to be like halfway home and realise you've forgotten something.
I'm like it now only because it's happened in the past. And it's happened if it only happened once, I'd be like, okay, fine. But it's happened I say in 2019, it's happened 3 times in the year when I've left. Yeah, when I've left a pair of boots or my jacket or a ring a jacket and stuff, and then I'm like, I can't be like this. I have to check everything now. I'm bad.
No, I get that. Especially if it's happened, that's sort of ingrained into you then. So I get that. Yeah. The next one is, now this is an interesting one, because we've had again a couple of answers from Brendan and Elijah. But also, I'm just wondering if you'll say who I'm thinking of because you've been on Riot Cabaret shows, because it's who brings the best food to the locker room.
Oh.
And it can be their pre-show meal, or it can be snacks. Just anyone who brings something in where you're like, oh, that looks amazing. I wish I had that.
I'll give a different one. At No Mercy, there's a wrestler called Adam Carter.
Oh, yeah?
And he bakes.
Does he?
And he makes blondies and stuff, and they're just,
Okay,
so good.
This is interesting now, because in my mind, because obviously you've been at Riot and stuff, has Nina baked for the locker room at Riot? Nina Samuels?
Oh, she hasn't, but I've never had the chance to have them yet.
Oh, mate, you've got to be our ref here. You've got to try and compare, because she sells them sometimes at shows, Nina, and I can attest genuinely, Nina makes the best cookies and brownies I've ever had in my life. So as someone who's tried both, you've got to check and be the ref on whose is better, because now we need a bake-off.
I tell you what though, I'll let you in on a little thing. I'm at the next Riot show, and if Nina's on there, I will judge it.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you straight away.
Nina, if you're on the show, be baking, bring it in. Jay's gonna test. He's gonna let you know if you're better than Adam.
100%.
Great.
They're just so nice though. I had my match, and then I came at the back, and then I was like, who's made these? And then and then he just goes, oh yeah, it's me, have one. And I had one, and I was like, I'm gonna take 6. Yeah. It was just yeah. I I had one, and then I took a few then on the way home.
Yeah. That is a high praise. That's why I'm intrigued now. I've got to know who's better. This has got to be tested. We need a Great Brit Rest Bake Off.
Oh, do you imagine? Oh, it would kick off.
Mate, I tell you what, I've said to people that if somehow I got the money, I'd start a promotion. I've changed my mind now. If somehow I got the money, I'd rent out a big fucking kitchen warehouse, and we put on the Great Brit Rest Bake Off, and that'd just be it. That's all I want. That's all I want in life, is just get 10 wrestlers baking in a room together to see who's the best.
Not me though. Not me, no? Please, no, because I can barely make toast. I'm bad.
But you need someone who's bad on, right? That's the thing with any baking show. You need someone who's bad on as the comic relief.
I'll be I'll be James. I'll be James off the Bake Off. I'll be oh yeah, I've made it, but then I had a break.
Oh yeah, James Acaster. Yeah, when he was on the celeb one. Yeah. That was amazing.
That'll be me.
James Acaster's brilliant.
That'll be me.
That to be fair, that's the comedy we need though. I might book you on it now if we do it, just for that.
Oh no, don't! Oh, it'd be so bad.
That line was brilliant though, wasn't it? It made the man a breakdown. Bon appetit.
I related to that so much because I've tried to make things in the past. I've tried to bake. I've tried to cook so many times, and then I would just stop and go, okay, I'm done now.
Give up. It's fine. I can make brownies. That's it though. I can't make anything else, which is weird. Like I can make brownies are the one specific thing I can make, but I can't make anything else.
Oh, you gotta bring them at the next show at Riot.
Oh no. Well, maybe I might bring them. I'll bring them back to the locker room. Oh no, because that's the thing. I can't do that. Mine are nowhere near as good as Nina's. Like I'll just be laughed out of the room. I'll be laughed out of the room, mate. It'll be embarrassing. It'll be embarrassing.
No, have some faith.
Nah, I've tried Nina's brownies. I'm never putting mine up against hers. No, I love it. Okay. So this one I'm interested in as well, because when we had Elijah and Brendan on, and I think Boar as well, they all gave the exact same answer for this question. So I'm interested to see if the trend continues in terms of like Welsh wrestling. So we're talking out of the ring now. We're talking like just you're leaving for the day or you're just entering, whichever. Who has the worst dress sense?
I'm not gonna lie, like I'll be amazed if they did say me, and I'll be so angry if they say me because I tried to overdress so much. But that's a good one.
It wasn't you. I can tell you that it wasn't you.
But thank God for that.
But they did all say the same person.
I want to get the name right now, but it could be Kyriakos James Cumbus is one of them, because he always wears shorts even in the winter.
Oh, that's mad.
Madness. He's a madness.
That is mad.
Who else is bad though? I can't really think.
If it helps,
I don't really look at anyone's clothes.
That's the thing. I kind of want you to get it now. So like the thing is, they both said the exact same thing. They both said, at least I can't remember what Boar said exactly, but I know that Brendan and Elijah both said specifically for this person, it's because of one specific item of clothing that he has that they think is just.
Who did they say? Is it Bronson?
No, it's Harrison Bennett.
Oh, the jacket! I like that jacket.
No, it's the jacket. I think Brendan's exact quote was like, "It should be it's a crime. He should be in jail."
It's Joseph, the King of Dreams type like coat, but I love it. I think it's great.
Oh, okay. So it's clearly a difference of opinion then.
100%. It's difference of opinion. It's like I didn't like it at first, and the more I seen him, the more I was like, okay, this actually suits you. Especially when he grew out his mustache, and then he his fashion now is just it's amazing.
Fair, that's fair.
I love it.
No, well, that's fair. I'm intrigued by that now. Like, I mean, it's just very interesting to see the split opinion now on this jacket. This is the thing. As soon
as you said his name, though, I was like,
yeah.
Oh my God, the jacket. They're gonna say about the jacket.
You know exactly what item.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
I don't think it's that bad.
This is the thing that's gonna split the Welsh wrestling scene now. It's gonna get divided over team jacket, team not jacket.
100%.
Love it. Brilliant. The next one's like on the opposite end of the spectrum, because it's like in the ring now, and we're talking a hypothetical like one size fits all scenario. So you've forgotten your gear for a show, right? And you need to borrow someone's gear. Whose gear do you look at? And you're like, I could pull that off. But like it's one size fits all. Like you could pick like one of the women, or you could pick like literally anyone. Like it doesn't matter. Just anyone who's like the gear you think is the best that you could pull off the best.
Oh, you're gonna get me going now because I'm gonna name low.
You've got some good gear down there in Wales. There's a lot of good gear.
Aluna's gear is amazing.
Yeah.
She got loads, and it's just and they're different too.
Yeah.
There's so many colours, but who else got? Splits his gear. I would love to wear his mask as well.
I was gonna say you got to go full mask and everything. Yeah.
100%. Nico's gear is very, very unique.
Yeah.
I like it. Oh, there are a few.
There's a lot of
There
good
are
gear.
loads. Daddy Luna's gear is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's vibrant as well. That's always stand out.
Yeah, like,
You got a lot of choice.
there are a lot of choices, but there's also any excuse to wear female gear as well, because any excuse to wear a dress, I'll be happy.
You got to mix it up sometimes, right? You got to mix it up.
I don't care anyway. I'm extremely comfortable in me. I do not don't care if you have to put me on a dress. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Like that's all good. That's all. Like that thing is like you do have a blast. Obviously, like I know it's not possible for you to be booked on it, but last night I was at the show. Eve held their like multiverse rumble, where like you just and like I feel like that sort of thing you just have a ball at, where you could just literally go anywhere.
I would dress up as Sashamov. It'd be great.
I think
any excuse is amazing.
Not this year, not this show. Last year when they did the Multiverse Rumble, Moth dressed up as Karen, like as her like first ever wrestling character, and Jetta dressed up as Moth, and they were in the ring together, and it was incredible.
Amazing. That's so good.
Oh, I think you'd make a good Moth though. I think you'd be good at that.
Oh yeah, 100%, easily.
Yeah, love it. The next one I always say is kind of counterproductive to ask a wrestling locker room, but it's who's the most competitive. It doesn't have to just be in the ring either. It can be like out the ring as well.
Oh, that's a good one. A lot of us are competitive, but I'm competitive, but I'm laid back, so I wouldn't say me. But that's a good one. I say splits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't mean out side of the ring. Even when all of us are actually in a ring at in a session or whatever, he's always on it. He's always he's switched on every time, and and it's infectious too. It isn't it's not really just about him. He tries to make everyone else work as hard as him.
Yeah,
amazing.
No, I love that. Big up splits. Big up.
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man.
The next one is again we're taking up to this hypothetical universe where everyone in the Welsh scene, I'm going to say, is hosting a party on the same night, and you've been invited to every single party, but of course you can only go to one of them. Who's are you picking? Who's going to throw the best party? The party you need to be at?
Harrison Bennett.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a DJ as well.
Is he? I didn't know that.
No, he does things in his own house. He does all the decks and stuff.
Nice. Oh, you know that party's going to be raging then.
Exactly, and he loves to rave as well. So. And
he's going to get you all a jacket.
I can wear that jacket too. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Love it. Big up Harrison. Love that. I didn't know that. That's really cool. That is cool.
Yeah.
And the final one again is I think my favourite one of the list. It's who would you pick to be your partner in the zombie apocalypse?
Oh, I got two. Mulligan because he's huge.
Yeah.
And I say Nico because he's had army experience.
Yeah, he's got the weapon as well to go with it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the spike.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, that's what you want, isn't it? A combination of the two would be lethal. Like Mulligan and Nico. That'd be.
Do you imagine? I could just sit back and just let.
I was gonna say you'd be at the back, like deck chair, just sitting out your popcorn. They'd be taking them on left and right. Easily.
All I would have would just be a shoe.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, back off, everyone. I would be amazing. I would just be like, guys, if you do all the work and then I'll come in and save the day at the end.
Yeah, you'll be the big hero, the one who takes out like the last one. You're like, yeah.
Always.
Love it. Brilliant. Well, that brings us to the end of that feature. We got one more feature to close the show. And this is about you now, not about everyone else. And this is sort of like a get-to-know-you kind of feature, like, who's the person behind J. Joshua, essentially. So again, it's like a little quick fiery. I'm going to list you some questions, and you let me know what comes to mind.
Yeah.
So The first one is, what's your favourite post-pinfall pig out?
Pig out. Usually we have a Mackey's, but I always get tired of that. But if I have to do a go-to, it'd be a takeaway curry.
Nice. Yeah. Curry's always a good shout. What do you go for?
I'm a bit of mixture, but on the flavour, I would go for chicken tikka masala.
Nice.
But some like no times, it'll be the spicier the better. It'll be the stuff off the menu, or it'll be a vindaloo.
Oh, proper spicy.
Yeah, I love spicy food. Even though, if you look at me, it would just ruin me. I start to sweat, my nose will run, but I love it.
Love the pain. That's why you're a wrestler as well, right? It's all fitting together. The pieces all fit.
The aftermath though on the curry is awful as well, but I love it.
It's never fun. Yeah, I know. The next one might be the same answer then, because it's the classic. Like, what would your death row last meal be?
Surprisingly, it would not actually be a curry though. It would be. I would be specific as I can. If they could go to T3 and get me a Jack Daniel's burger with the fries and the Jack Daniel's sauce, I'll be happy.
Nice.
I would die in peace.
That's a very like, I guess, simple last meal. You're not asking for much there. That's just easy. You just go down the road, get a TGI's.
Easy.
Nice.
Simple man.
Yeah. And that's sometimes good. That's good. I like that. The next one's, what's the song that gets you the most hyped?
I could go into full-on, I could speak an hour about music for, me, because I have a wide, range. I probably got the most outlandish music, taste on the Welsh scene.
I was going to say, I think we picked that up earlier, yeah.
Because times I would even have, on my Spotify, I would have themes as well of films and games and stuff. Particularly Tekken as well.
Oh, Tekken, yes.
All the songs in Tekken 4, 5, and 6, and it gets you going. And then I'm like, I would get hyped on that. DMX would always get me hyped every time. He's the most hyped rapper ever. I love it. He would get me going. I'm just naming as many genres as I can. There's loads, but I got one that there's it's from the first Mortal Kombat film.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a song at the end. It's not the theme. The theme though is the best theme.
I was going to say, I know the theme. I'm trying to think of the other one you mean.
There's a scene with Liu Kang and he's seeing off his brother, and the music is playing in the background, and ironically, the same song is in the ending of Mean Girls as well.
Okay.
But the song is absolutely fantastic.
I'm trying to find it now. I'm trying to find it.
If you find it, it's absolutely amazing.
I can't think of what you. I can't think. I'll find it later. I'll find it and I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I found it. I'll let you know. I'll put it on the screen here as well, for everyone they can know.
As I said, I got the most outlandish taste ever. I would get hyped over every single genre as well.
I was gonna say that is varied. That's very varied. But I like that. It's good to have a mix. It's good to have a mix. The next one is the movie that I'd show the locker room.
Oh. How do you mean again? Sorry.
So I always say to people it doesn't have to be necessarily your favourite film, but the film you think everyone should see.
Oh, okay, I got you. This is a weird one, but I use this as a routine with on the week of a show, and then say if I'm wrestling on a Saturday, I would watch this film on a Friday in the afternoon. It's The Lost Boys.
Oh, okay.
Love that film.
That's a great film. I'm interested in the like tradition of doing that though. When did that start?
It began in 2022 when it was when I had one of those matches where I found me, and then it became a routine since I'm superstitious as hell. So and plus I love the film so much, and it every prior day on a show I put that film on.
Nice. I like it.
It.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, people have traditions for stuff, don't they? Like with sport all the time, like wear like the same jersey or something or whatever. Like it's the same as that.
Yeah, it's me all the time.
No, I love that. I love that, and that's a great film choice as well. Great film choice.
There may be another film though as well that I sometimes be pestering a lot of people about, but I try to make a lot of people watch the types of films of Snatch and Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels as well.
Nice.
I love those films so much.
Yeah.
So good.
Good shouts. The next one's a bit of a throwback because it's your first job.
Oh. I used to work at the stadiums in the Cardiff City Stadium, and I worked at the Principality as well. Those were my first jobs.
Oh, nice. Doing what?
So it's every event happened every rugby game, every football game, every concert. The boxing happened in those stadiums as well. I would I would work at the bars and stuff
on the concourse, yeah.
All the pints.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I did that for a little while as well, and again, in a football stadium, in Brighton Stadium. So I was gonna say that's a tough job as well, with especially when you got that many sports fans in one place.
The worst part though, I was working at the away end.
Oh no.
I had to deal with a lot of shit.
Yeah. That's not fun. That's not as fun at all.
Oh, it was awful.
Are you a Cardiff fan?
I am not. I'm a Man United fan.
You're a Man United fan? That's
unfortunately.
I was going to say that's worse. I think you should rather be a Cardiff fan.
I'm not. I don't blame you, man. Honestly, the amount of times on the weekend, show, I'll be at a show, I'd be happy, I'd be bubbly, and then I take one little look at my phone, and then I'll be like,
yeah.
Oh no, and then my day is just almost if the match goes really good, I'll be happy then, and it just puts.
Oh, it ruins your weekend, doesn't it? Being a football fan, it ruins your weekend. I'm the same. So we booked this in, right? And I forgot when we booked this in that Brighton are playing it's finished now. Brighton were playing 3:00 kickoff. So I watched the first half before we started recording. We're playing Stoke in the cup, and we scored we scored in the last minute of the half to make it 1-1. We were 1-0 down. We're playing terribly, and I'm now dreading looking at my phone to see whatever the full-time score was.
God, you joined him with Stoke.
Yeah, we've not been playing well. So that could be embarrassing. And I'm just dreading looking at my phone.
Are you playing all right at the minute?
Oh, we're a good team, but we've been real inconsistent this year. We've been real inconsistent. We've played some
Yeah.
Every game we've played good football, but sometimes, you just can't score, do you know what I mean? And the defence has been terrible this year, so...
At least you're playing okay.
Yeah, Man United, sometimes you squeak a result and it's just... But the football's dire to watch.
I fell for that as well, because Boxing Day, it was Villa, and, and the end, even though, it was 2-0, down, and the entire, game was just sublime. And the magic... appeared again, and then I got so hyped, and then we lose to Forest.
I was gonna say, that's the moment, isn't it? You're oh, we're back, and then you lose to Forest, and you're oh no.
All week I was we are back, and we're gonna get top 4, and we're gonna sign these. We're gonna sign Mbappe and Osimhen and all them lot and all that stuff, but then we lose to Forest. Awful.
Mate, it's the hope that kills you, isn't it? It's always the hope that kills you as a football fan. Always.
I know. It's Kalido on me that I actually enjoy other sports, because if football was all I have, I would crumble so bad.
See, that's the thing. Like, I like other sports, but not to the level I like football. So, like, wrestling is my thing. That's that. Like, wrestling's my thing. That's like, if I'm going to a show and Brighton have lost, I'll be less bothered that Brighton have lost because I'm like, oh, I'm going to enjoy my night. But like, if Brighton have lost and I've got nothing on, I'm like, okay, well, this is depressing. Like, my partner knows now. She's like learned that I'm just going to be down, like in a bad mood if Brighton have lost like the whole evening. Ruins the weekend. But so I can relate.
It's going like at the point every now and then, like and in the back of shows, if we lose, and they would see my face, they could tell straight away that something bad has happened. It isn't anything outside of it. Everybody knows that we've lost.
Yeah.
And they can tell of just how sad I am. It isn't a death in the family or anything. If I'm sad, it's only because we lost.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Ruins my emotions.
There was one time, I think it was at a wrestling show, where Brighton were playing at the same time as an evening kickoff. And it was during one match, I was checking my phone to see what the score was. And I saw on Twitter that we'd scored, and I may have been a bit too vocal about that during the match. I might have forgot where I was for a split second, and then looked around and been like, "Oh, I was a bit too loud there."
That's so good. Hell yeah. I'd be like that though too.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm glad to see you'd be the same because I felt really bad.
Nah, don't. Football is life.
Oh, it is exactly. I'm glad you understand. The next one's the only question on this list that gets a little deep because it's your greatest fear.
I got one that's deep, and then I got one that's a normal fear. And the deepest one is I don't want it to sound narcissistic, but I don't want to be faded away, if you get me. I don't want to be if they mention my name, everyone's who? I want to be known, if you get me.
Yeah, I get that. We've had a few people say that as well. You don't want to just sort of drift off into obscurity.
Yeah, and however, the biggest fear is spiders.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Hate spiders. Can't do it.
Terrifying, especially when I got traumatized as a teenager because my dad's mate had a bird eating spider.
Oh no.
And he would keep his house extremely warm because it could only it can only adapt to really, really hard areas. And I was picking him up, and my dad's in a passenger seat, and then he goes and knocks on the door, and my mate answers it, and then he opens the curtains because he knows that I am absolutely terrified. I'm outside in the car. I'm standing only so that I can run.
Yeah.
Just in case. But he's showing me then there's a spider, a big bird-eating one, just chilling on the wall inside of the house.
Oh no.
And it's I am not even lying. It was just the size of. I'm trying to find something now. It's the size of 2 shoes.
Oh my god.
That. And it was just chilling, and it did not move. It didn't move. No, once. And I was like, "Is this real?" But then he walks outside at the front, and he picks up a box, and it's got a dead bird in it, and then he puts it back in the house, and he rests it on the table. Then out of nowhere, starts to move down, grabs the bird, and takes it back up to the wall, and just fucking devours it. And I'm like, nah.
No, yeah, that would I would literally shit myself if I saw that. There's no chance.
I was ready to run. No. It's not the fact that he has one. If he had it in a cage, I'd be I'd be terrified. Anyway, but
it's the fact that you know it's caged, you know it can't get out, but when it's there on the wall and you know it could get you at any minute, you're like, fuck, no.
Yeah, that is madness. It was the story that I heard. it was a few months ago, I think. There was a woman, I think, and she had a pet snake, and like no, and like no, it would never be like no in the cage or the tank or anything. It would actually go like no around, and she'd wake up, and it's straightened up right next like no to her, and he has a net for so long, and she actually takes it to the vet, and the vet's like no like and the vet actually like no says, do you know anything about like no snakes? And she's like, no. And he actually says he was measuring you. He was just to see if like no how much he can swallow.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Yeah, that's terrifying.
Like, why would you have a pet like that who can like eat you?
Yeah, that is no.
No, you're crazy.
Terrifying, literally terrifying. No, that's so bad. The next one hopefully is a bit better because it's on the it's sort of on the opposite end of what we've been talking about because it's your favourite animal. We're talking about nice animals now.
I'm a dog man. I love dogs. I have 2 dogs.
Nice.
But outside of pets, I think silverbacks I love the most.
Nice. Yeah.
There's just something about them, like, if you look at them and they just look badass.
Yeah. Yeah, they are cool.
Just like hossy, don't they? It's like a big, like thick hoss, you know?
Mate, they're like, they're hench. They're like, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But I also love a tiger though as well.
Nice. Yeah. No, I love those choices. Yeah, silverback's great. Silverback is incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Badass.
The next one's the only wrestling question on this list. It's your favourite match stipulation, and it can be like to be in or to or to watch, whichever.
I'll do one to watch. I really enjoy. There are a few. I really love submission matches, especially if they're done well.
Yeah.
I don't want to name the one in particular, but a Kurt Angle submission match is just out of this world.
Yeah.
But I also love. I've always been a sucker for the Royal Rumbles, even though they do have a knack of being underwhelming. I just love the stipulation of it because it's like, who's it gonna be? Who's next?
Yeah.
Is it someone's debut or is it someone I love the element of surprise in wrestling. I always have.
Yeah. Rumble would be my choice, but again, you're right. It's not normally the match. It's like the anything can happen of who's going to be in the match that's more exciting than the match itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. The next one, there's only a couple more. The next one's your favourite place in the world.
I haven't really gone much outside of the UK. I'm not gonna lie, but my fondest holiday though was Tenby in Wales.
Oh, nice.
In the west. It was beautiful. It was amazing, and it was just hot all the time as well. It was great.
That's always handy. That's always helpful.
Yeah, I know. And the best part, was as long as it had a bar, I was happy.
Yeah. Again, simple man, simple pleasures.
I am the most simple human being you will ever meet. I'm not a guy who would go to Ibiza and Tenerife and all that stuff. I just want to go to Tenby and Torquay and Devon and just Butlins and all that stuff. I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And just get hammered.
Well, there you go. That brings us on nicely to the next one, because the next one leads on to that. And it now I'm really interested in what you're going to say, because it is your dream holiday destination.
Oh, the dream holiday though. That's a good one. Even though I'm a simple man, I would love to go abroad. So I'll name an abroad one. But I would say, I got to. Probably Norway.
Nice.
Or maybe I would go to. I would say Japan as well.
Yeah.
Because just looks incredible to like not actually be there.
Yeah, Japan's one we get a lot. Every wrestler we've had on that says Japan is always like, I don't want it to be a holiday though. I want to like wrestle over there. Like, I want it to be a working holiday.
Oh yeah, like yeah, that is my like no a worker's view. That's my goal.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully you'll get there because again, like we've spoken about, you've had a great year and you're on the rise, and like we'd love to see that in Japan. You've had some great matches out in Japan as well.
Oh yeah, like hopefully like I can be around when hopefully like I can be there if like Ishii is still around as well, because I would love
mate, yeah, you and Ishii. Oh, I'd love to see you versus Ishii.
I was so happy and like envious at the same time for Luke, but I was just so happy that he had him, because me and like him actually talked about it in 2019, because me and like him actually had a match only for like 8 minutes and we just beat the out of each other. But then afterwards we just named like who he won, and he just kept on saying Ishii, and the fact that he had Ishii, I was just so chuffed for him.
No, that was a great match. That was our match of the year. That one, the one that had a copper box, was that was an insane match. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the match. It was insane.
Yeah, I'd love to see you take on Ishii as well, and you and Jacobs run it back as well. We got more of that. We need more of that.
Oh, I know. Like I would love a crack at Luke like now, especially when like I'm me now as well, because we had that match in 2019, and it was only for like 8 minutes, but it was just a full on like 8 minutes of just action.
Yeah, and you've both improved so much since then. Like it would be even better.
Oh yeah, like I would be amazed if Luke it doesn't get a shot over there now in Japan.
Yeah,
I would be amazed if he doesn't have one, because I feel like he's earned it.
Yeah, for sure. And anyone watching who can book Joshua Jacobs 2. Yeah, 2. I guess if you only had one. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, Joshua Jacobs 2 in the UK. Someone book it, because we want to see that. That would be great. That would be great.
He'll kill me, but then I'll kill him too. But he's so good right now.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, he is. Well, no, Jay, that brings us nicely to the end of the chat. And thank you so much for coming on. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Oh no, man! I enjoyed it. It was my very, very first one, and I'm glad it was with you. Honestly,
thank you. That means a lot. I'm honoured. It's been so much fun having you on and chatting and putting you through all that question gauntlet. We do have one final question for you, but it's not left by me. We have a tradition on the podcast where the last guest leaves a question for the next guest, and this is all completely out of context as well. So you're not allowed to know who's asked it. So the question you've been left is, you can only wear one colour for the rest of your life that's not black or white. What is it?
Oh, I was gonna say black.
Yeah, no, they were very specific about getting rid of the black or white thing as well.
Good one. I say red for Man United. And Wales as well.
Yeah, I was going to say for Wales is more likely, because otherwise if you're wearing it for Man United, you're just going to be depressed every time you look down.
And angry too. Yeah. That symbolises the red.
Brilliant. It's a good choice. I'll get your question for our next guest once we've finished. But as our final closing thing, I always end each podcast by giving our guests one final bit of promo time. And this doesn't have to be like an in-ring on the mic promo that you'd give. It's very simply like, if someone sees you at a show, on a match card, on a poster somewhere, and wants to come and check you out, why is Jay Joshua going to steal the show? I
don't want to say it in like a promo way. I'll say it as me, because I've always been me. But I'm extremely unique in comparison to everyone else, I feel like, and I want to be unique too. I don't want to be like everyone else. I'm me, and and in a match wise, you're going to expect a lot of hard hits and action too. I'm not a dude who would just fall easy. I'm like, you have to kill me. That's how I wrestle. You have to kill me.